Good afternoon to one and all present here. Greetings on behalf of Narula Institute of Technology. So, like we all know that COVID-19 pandemic enforced institutions to reevaluate the move towards digital work, be it expanding the established capabilities or just starting a program out of necessity. Narula Institute of Technology, a leading autonomous NIF ranked Institute of Eastern India, under the aegis of JIS Group Education Initiative, is organizing a panel discussion on the topic of leading through COVID-19, digital life now and beyond. So I, on behalf of Narula Institute of Technology, giving you a warm welcome to all the panelist members and our sweetest moderator, Pooja. So over to you, Pooja, you can go ahead.
Amazing. So good afternoon, everyone, and thank you so very much for joining the panel today. The panel is absolutely timely named, Leading Through COVID-19, the Digital Life Now and Beyond. Now, obviously, this is something which is almost a topic of discussion for everyone, whether you're a student, a homemaker, a corporate person, or a business or an economy. Everybody wants to know what's now or what's tomorrow. We all know that, assuming that life is going to be back to normal, is going to be living in a fool's world. So very excited to actually have a distinguished panelists amongst us, and let's just see, have them answer those burning questions that you all might have. So feel free to chat up your questions, and we are going to take those questions after the webinar is the discussion is over, right? So without further ado, let me introduce the panelists amongst us. So we have Dr. Manpreet Singh Manna, SLIT Longowal, former Director AICTE and MHRD HD member. We have Mr. Naveen Singh, he's the Public Policy and Corporate Affairs Expert. We have Ms. Parminder Jeet Kaur, Director East and Northeast ASSOCHAM, and Mr. Krishna Kumar, CEO Green Pepper. And I'm your friendly host and moderator for the afternoon. I'm the Senior Communications Manager, Interglad Science, based in Singapore. So let's just get started. I'm going to actually open this panel with a very pertinent question for everyone, and which is, what's the human and business impact of COVID-19 in your view? I mean, we all know there is this whole social distancing happening and circuit breaker, but what's the human impact of that? And I'm going to start the question with Mr. Naveen Singh first.
First of all, I would like to give my greetings to the complete panel and all to the participants here. This is the first time I'm getting into a webinar organized by Nidhi. Nidhi is a wonderful person, and I've been knowing her since long. And I'm very glad that she got me onto this panel and also to this webinar. See, honestly speaking, as a public policy person who have been watching public policies and doing corporate affairs for the last 15 years, I personally believe, the Corona didn't break the system, rather, Corona exposed our broken system. We'll have to understand it from that perspective. So, Corona, from the perspective, if you look at it, if Corona has taught us anything, it is taught us to go local. It has enabled us to think local. So what I personally believe is, in this evolving crisis, when nobody is able to say for sure that when it will be contained, to be very honest with you, and it is going to have a very long-term impact, and it could be that the stress will be placed unequally on individuals and on society itself, and on the government too. That is the way the things are happening. Then there are the risks of structural risks, which affects everyone. It's an economic as well as a biological risk, which is affecting everyone. So COVID-19, I think, more than the serious health issues, it is one of the biggest job destroyers in human history. That's what I personally feel.
True, absolutely true. So the human impact, according to you, is obviously the loss of jobs, and which impacts daily lives, and it has exposed broken systems. Now I'm going to go to Krishna Kumar and ask him, in your opinion, then what has been the business impact for the last 3 months? and how will that change 2021 or maybe the entire decade? Are you
what we've seen is in our lifetime, even though
I think there are some audio challenges here.
is it okay now? Is it okay now?
Yes, Krishna Kumar, it's better now. Yes, go ahead.
Is it okay, right? Yeah.
Okay, so I will request Jayanta to actually look into the audio situation with Krishna Kumar, and I will circle back there. So let me just take this question to Parminder. So Parminder, last 3 months has probably changed the entire decade or decades to come. What's the business impact of COVID-19 in your opinion?
Well, thank you for the question, Pooja, and just continuing with what Naveenji has already said about, yes, there is definitely an impact on the business. We have seen certain industry segments, totally shut down, which is actually probably going to take about 6 months or maybe 1 year to recover out. But on certain segments, the response has been that there's a huge responsibility. Healthcare and pharmaceutical, they may not have had issues of being closure, but then there's a huge responsibility and sudden too much of demand for them. Overall, yes, the economy has been disrupted. It's hampered. The global situation is not good. The current Indian situation, for that matter, is not good. Almost every sector has been impacted, whether it's an MSME, whether it's an agriculture sector, or whether it's a service sector. Yes, the degree of impact may be here and there. Service sectors doesn't require much of the requirement which manufacturing sector has. So probably they've been able to handle pandemic slightly in a better way as compared to the manufacturing sector. But yes, there is a negative impact, if we may use that word, and the businesses are definitely impacted by this.
Yeah, absolutely right there. No length and breadth of any kind of economy has been left alone. So then my question would be, are we ready to pivot towards a world of post-corona? We know the impact. Are we there yet? Are we planning for that? Are we planning for a world post-corona? And this question would be addressed to Dr. Manna.
Yes, thank you very much, Pooja, for putting one very relevant question and significant question. And first of all, I am thankful to the whole JIS and NIT group, along with the SHM. They have come forward to at least have this kind of a chintan, manthan, the brainstorming. It is the right time. It is the right time. I think most of the our institutions of faculty got disturbed, and as per the data given by the UNESCO, the 200 million higher education students are away from their education centers. So around 70% international students are back to their home. When they will go back to join their institution post-COVID, until unless the institutional mindset, the corporate mindset, and more, the individual human mindset is going to be in that domain, we are not going to be succeed. From last 4 generations, they have not seen this kind of pandemic, to be very frank. After 1920, we could see, after 100 years back, we could see something. So we were not ready for that also. And it is always there. Any kind of, the thunderstorm comes or rain comes to your home, it's all sudden and you are not ready, but you could manage because it's a small impact it gives to your life as well as to your business. But it is going to be give the, I think, more scars on your life or maybe lifetime if you take it in a negative way. I generally asked my faculty to be ready for the COVID-20. So COVID-19 is the virus and COVID-20 is going to be the antivirus. You have to have a C for connectivity, O for the open source, V for the virtualization, as we are going to be discussed today in the virtual system, virtual platform. Of course, we have to have the interfacing with each other, not with the social way, but interfacing through apps and everything. And of course, D is for the digital divide and digital mindset. That's what. So now the question comes, are we ready for the post-COVID? Now, the biggest opportunity for the countries like India is going to become, I tell you. Around 63% of the learners, they have mindset to defer. It is not my data, it is the data given by UNESCO. They are going to defer. 11% they have started studying through online system. Why only 11%? Why not others? Because our 60% teaching, learning still could not be transformed to the remote way. Because many teachers are not computer savvy. Many teachers' mindset is not ready to be accept this kind of scenario, sitting in front of the laptop and speaking alone. Sometimes their wife says, why you are talking alone to the laptop? Nobody's listening to you, nobody's watching, and still you are giving that kind of body language to the laptop camera. So how we can feel like hundreds are listening me, hundreds are watching me, they are making notes of it. So this is their readiness. So now 9 to 5 office concept is not going to be seen again. It's agility, it's agility. And of course, it is a digital transformation. We have to have some kind of home office stipends to be coming. Earlier, the government of India given a transportation stipends, we have a transportation allowance, we having this allowance. We used to have the LTCs, leave travel concessions. Now I think it's not going to leave travel concessions. It will be the home sitting concessions may come in coming days. This is called readiness. That office building would be more conference centers rather than having the small chambers and we are sitting and doing some work. We have to carry out much work from our physical way, our virtual way, and we have to cut short our travels. Many business meetings are going to be IM, it's an internet meeting now. I used to say IM. This is not, so the readiness. I'll come to this point.
Right.
That 3 months before Maruti Udyog never thought of it, they are going to be manufacturing the ventilators. This is called a readiness. And it is already proven by the many countries, including my India. They immediately switched over to this kind of production. Till January, there was not a single mask production was there. And today we're having a 3 lakh masks going to be produced in our country. And the drugs, the medicines production, we are going to give the medicines to the 135 countries plus from one country like India. This is the readiness. The moment we our government, our regulators, our individuals' mindset is going to be aligned together, I think there is any question for the post-COVID readiness. It is purely your digital mindset, which you have to make it. I think we are ready for that. We are finding thousands of opportunities coming for this. That's what I just wanted to add over here.
No, I mean, it's rather valid. So what you're saying, Dr. Manna, is that it's be agile, be digitally ready, and then you will be able to take any lemon and make into a lemonade, right? Once you are digitally savvy and ready, things change very quickly, which is correct, right? Now with that question, coming to the education part, right? In the news every day, you can read that there are layoffs happening, furloughs are happening. So when the students who are, obviously in institutions and colleges, they read this kind of news, it's very unpleasant. It's rather demotivating. So then what are those important nuggets that you would want students to remember now? And I would like to get Krishna Kumar's view on this. Like, how should students take this in their stride and be prepared for what's going to come? Yeah.
I think the students consider conventional education like a college or university more for the compliance part of it than for the curiosity or skills building parts of it. So we look at university as a credentials building thing, right? We join a premier institute so that we can be part of the alumni network, right? So from that conventional thinking of being part of the alumni network, signaling the educational programs, or telling the world that I am good because I did it from these institutions. From that we are moving from compliance to curiosity, from credentials to skills, right? So the digital education has completely changed the last 3 years. So it's not the COVID-19 thing which changed digital education. The digital education was always there for last 3-4 years, starting from massive content, best universities in the world by the best teachers, and making it available at fraction of the cost of the conventional education. So accessing it is very much possible even now. So accessibility is there, the affordability of education is improved. Now, as conventional education centers like universities in India can actually look at curating the best courses and creating a community of learners to motivate them to do courses, because only 5% of the people are really good self-learners, and 95% need a lot of push. Like it's learning tough subjects is like not willpower driven. I mean, it's completely push based learning. Like, if you look at colleges, you want a clear system, a clear hierarchy, punishment. All these things really work for someone to do a course, because it's not easy to go to calculus or do Python or do tough courses. So a set of teachers can be like people who create a system, a strong system, to push learners to do things which are skills based. So I said, like, teachers will also move from the usual thing. So yesterday I was reading something about, they say face the camera and start teaching, right? Dr. Manpreet was saying that now it is going to be like, we don't know how many people are listening to us, but we should, teach as if there might be so many people who are spending their time and listening to us, right? So the quality, the value of the delivery, the content, the depth of the content, all should be up to the mark and should be well prepared to do that. For example, we get a lot of time. So there is a lot of non-verbal communication happening in a physical classroom. And you don't have that luxury out here. You are just like, even if you're a big guy, even if you're a principal or university chancellor, you are a small square in the Zoom, right? So we have to deliver sharp content constantly to stay relevant. I think from physical teachers, we will move to digital educators, right? The format, the content, the style, the presentation, everything is different. Like Dr. Manpreet is saying, the format is changing, and it's a matter of developing a new set of habits to become a digital educator. So for your question specifically, students will have to really, because we have to prepare for a gig economy, because we can't remember a time where we were kind of really worried about getting jobs. Especially students coming out of colleges usually find their own stuff. They get into some courses, they get into internships, and they get absorbed by companies. But here we are not preparing for a job market, we are preparing for a gig economy, where short highly skilled projects, just like a doctor. So gig economy is nothing new. Like a doctor gets paid 300 rupees for a 15-minute gig. Like he does the diagnosis, he gets a prescription. Similarly, we have the jobs can be sliced into projects and tasks and specific gigs. So we should be ready for that. The students should be ready for two things. One is finding their niche. Second thing is to upskill. And third thing is to prepare for the gig economy.
Right. No, absolutely. Extremely wise words. And if there are students listening, there is absolutely no denying that we are entering into a gig economy, and face the camera and do your best to even learn, right? But then the exception is going to take place, right? The rule was, I need a job in bank. Let me do my commerce or get an MBA, and there is some amount of guarantee that I will probably be employed by a bank, right? What's that cost will that change now? Because today I have an option, right? Like I can switch on and I can actually go and attend an economics class. I can then probably go and attend a biology class, right? Like there are no structures, as you mentioned earlier, there were structures. Now there are no like structures. I can just excel in anything. But who then takes me to my, or tells me, right, that, okay, this is what you're going to be suitable for. And now we know AI, machine learning, Internet of Things, connectedness is the role. So are there any formulas in your minds? And this is open to all the panelists in education. Are there any typical subjects that we need to encourage children to or students to take up now? Because we know the world is going to be more digital, more connected. AI and machine learning are here to stay, right? Any particular suggestions you would like to give to the students?
Right. So we have the access to the best resources. So for example, you said if somebody wants to know the aptitude, somebody wants to know what you're psychologically ready for. Like not everyone is like psychologically ready for certain kind of jobs, right? So you're talking about entrepreneurship. Even entrepreneurship requires certain competencies, right? A very good employee may not become a successful entrepreneur. So there are certain competencies required for each thing, right? So students can right now have the access to the best assessment tools, have the best resources, have the best mentors, guides available. But the accessibility is there. But how many people use this, right? So if you look at, we have recently found out that each state in India has got startup missions, like startup missions, which are like funded by the governments. And you see each state has actually selected a group of great mentors. I mean, I had a look at certain profiles and they're really good and wish I could access. When I was at the age of 21, I would have accessed them. But surprisingly, what we see here is that we are spoiled for the choice. We have too many options. We have too many choices, that people are not able to take that action of choosing something and taking a decision. So this is going to be very distracted. So the whole humanity is now probably, especially the students, because if you know the best of our decisions, like the most important decisions in our life is taken between 20 to 25. Like even if it is education, choosing a career, or choosing your partner, or getting on your first job. And when we are the most naive, probably, and when we don't have the information or the wisdom to do it. So, but now source tools and access to it, and it is affordable. So it's only a matter of like how the university take action is and create to access the best resources.
Yeah, I would like to be add in this. Definitely, I'm totally agree with Mr. Krishna Kumar, as he mentioned. I'm going to touch two very sensitive points over here, and it's the right time to be touch these sensitive points. The number one, I'm just continuing with him. Today, when 2016 Government of India started with the choice-based credit system, and they brought us SWAM is one of the world's largest MOOCs platform. We asked the students, we asked the universities to be adopted. The adaptability was not there. The adaptability was not there. Rather, many emails are being a founder, director of a SWAM from Government of India. I could develop it well in time through my Teams support and Microsoft support. I could find so many emails. The emails were saying, "Sir, what you are doing, you are eating away many faculties' job here, because if it is online teaching, who will come to my classroom already?" So I said, "Are you really a teacher? If you're a teacher, why you are scared? And tell me, on SWAM, who's going to teach? Some alien? He's going to become, and he's going to teach on the camera. You only the teacher, who have written 10 books in his lifetime and who publish around 100+ papers. Can't he teach for 30 minutes before the camera? Why you are shying before the camera? Means your body language, maybe your language problem, maybe your command problem, maybe your clarity in the content which you are going to deliver." So I feel as good, I'm comfortable as on today. Why I'm going to put this point? I'm going to give the authentic data. As on today, Australia, 7,20,000 students, international. France, 4,70,000 students. New Zealand, 1,43,000 students. Canada, the very favorite destination for the Indians and particularly for the Punjabis, 4,50,000 students, international students. 3,50,000 students from Germany. I'm touching even a Japan, 3 lakh international students. China, 5 lakh international students. And as per my all India higher education, the data, the survey which is conducted, only 47,000 students international in India. And 17% students from India goes abroad. These students came back to India now because of this COVID. If again they will go back because of this COVID, post-COVID, I think we have failed. And 935 universities, you add the universities of the many countries together, even not the number is going to be 935 countries, and we having around 47,000 institutions in my country. Such a huge, the education system we have. What is the problem? Why my today's a learner is going? Are they happy to go? Do you think they are paying a huge fee, the fee more than the Indian fee structure? Only thing is our teachers' readiness, the content, and the mindset. Because if we are not going to change ourselves with the time domain, you see, 10 years before, where was the Nokia? Everywhere was talking about the Nokia. And where is the Nokia today? Because Nokia could not see the today's youngsters, will, and today's a buyer's wish, whether they want the camera more of megapixels, or whether they want the storage, or whether they want the rugged sort of product. So similarly, our universities, I think it is one of the biggest opportunity for Indian education system, whether you call it as a school education system, whether you call it as a higher education system, because government of India already given us choice-based credit system. So basket is open. Let them choose a dance, let them choose a journalism, let them choose. And we already given a 25% online education system through SWAM, like 20% credits they can from SWAM. Second sensitive point. If today I want to buy a car, I think I go to car.com, I can see something. I want to buy a policy for my family or for my health, I think policy.com is there. Today, my learner is calling me, sir, I am looking one Python of 1200 rupees worth. I'm looking one Python is available for 25,000 rupees worth. Which particular platform I should go? Which Python is going to suits me before my future? I am a chemical engineer, or I'm a leather engineer, or I'm a mechanical engineer. We have opened so many open online academies, but without looking what kind should be the target student. Target learners. Every Tom, Dick and Harry does not require the 25,000 rupees worth course of Python. Even they can work as a beginners of the Python with the 1200, or maybe the free of cost Python, which is given by the SWAM. So the teachers should come wisely. Why this is happening? Because my institution teachers are not coming forward. My university teachers are in the comfortable zone. They say, okay, my salary is coming. I'm teaching in a class. If 50 students will come less, then I'm also happy. This is not the time now. This is not the scenario. So I'm sure by January 2021, the teachers are going to see the big fire and hot if they are not coming to be the online teaching system. The pedagogy has to be changed. The teaching style has to be changed. The digital mindset is a blended learning mode. We have to go with the blended learning mode. This is a very sensitive part. I think most of the faculty will be agree with me.
I will add. I will add to what Mr. Kumar and Mr. Manpreet just said. Look, what Mr. Manpreet just elaborated, I will tell you, there is a difference between what India and Bharat is.
True.
Today, once there's lockdown, this pandemic has almost left everyone, high and dry. It has caused, paralyzed the lives of it's complete setback to the industries globally. I have little nephews who are in private schools. The private schools immediately started doing the online classes.
Right.
But you don't forget, majority of the students still go to the government schools.
Yeah. True,
where they didn't had anything.
That's the Bharat. Yes.
That is the Bharat. Whatever we tell, whatever we do now, you'll have to ensure that the infrastructure is there to support you. Today, in spite of the percolation of the smartphones down to the last mile, what is the smartphone doing now? It is being used to only watch YouTube. It is being used to watch movies. It is not used to, or not rather being, utilized by the people to gain some knowledge out of it. The infrastructure is not there, or rather, the applicability of is not there. You'll have to appreciate that. Whatever online things you say, I really doubt that if you are not able to infrastructurally develop your things. See, we are large time employers. We take in a lot of people that you take out from your colleges. But honestly speaking, don't take me wrong, those MBAs which I take from you, we have to put in a lot of our own resources to make them come up to the level that what we want them to do.
Sure. I mean,
the faculties that you have, with no intentions, with no hurting anybody, but you need to introspect yourself. What are you churning out? See, degrees and other things, to be very honest with you, matter very less to us. we being employees. And I'm talking on behalf of a lot of my friends who are top people here in the corporates here in the country, who hire thousands of people, young people, So for them, what is in the demonstrative skills which people bring in, the soft skills that they have, the adaptability, the resiliences, the teamwork, these are certain things, the communication. These are certain things. People come with degrees, but they lack in all these kind of things. So, what my advice if the students are listening to me is, brother, utilize this period, to develop new skills, so how post-COVID, how you are going to shape up with things. As Mr. Manpreet said, things are going to change. It will change. I know it will be the new normal, but only time will tell that, even after a lot of epidemics, honestly speaking, we have never learned from history. You go back 300 years, there have been numerous epidemics that has happened. Apart from the medical advancement, the general habits of the people have never undergone a change.
Right.
You'll have to appreciate that.
So Naveen, what you're trying to say is that that students who are here today, they need to be excited about taking up new skills such as softer skills.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And yes, I hear you. You're right. Like, aptitude is definitely built in institutes, but it's the softer skills that take you far, which is true. But I also would argue with more digitalization and all of us now facing a camera or a screen for most part of our learnings, don't you think it's also a time for a lot of introverts or people who really feel conscious for the language skills, right? Not in Bharat, we do not really have everybody who's fluent English speaker. But because of digital education, it becomes easier for them to be quiet, absorb information, and type it out and finish that education. So do you think that with more digital education taking place, it's going to be a leveler of some sorts, like people who are fluent in English with people who are not, but skills are equal?
Definitely, it will be. It will be definitely. See, we have a couple of hotels across and, across the world rather. And we hire a lot of people in those hotels. We have thousands of employees working in the hotels. And English will be a major factor. But the problem is that there are different, as I told you, there is a difference between India and Bharat. Whatever online, today we already had an online system in place. Online education is there for the last 15, 20 years. And since the time Hughes came into India, they were the first to come up with online education. They set up the online centers across India with the VSAT network, and they started giving out even degrees with some international universities. But the fact of the matter was, again, I'm coming back to that same situation, that a set of people can not only be given the opportunity to come up in life. If you really want the country to move, then that inclusiveness has to be there. As Mr. Manpreet said, that AICT has done a lot of things which has really percolated down to the last mile to help the people. That last mile sitting at a small district in any of the country, which is a remote district. But what the focus should be is how the infrastructure is going to support you to take these activities down to the last line. English is definitely one good important subject which people now have started picking up, and they're trying to put their kids also into small schools, even in small districts, and that is the reason why you see the coming up with the small schools even in districts. So mind you, there are 15 lakh schools in the country.
Right.
Online classes, how many schools are doing?
Yeah.
Very few.
I mean, there's a gap to be.
So we'll have to appreciate that.
Yeah.
We cannot, these 4 metros cannot decide what India has to do or how India moves.
Yeah, I think a connected India will obviously fare better. Thank you for your thoughts there, Naveen. Very passionate about it. I can totally see. I have a question then for Parminder. Parminder, you now can clearly see, as an industry body, that the education, is doing what it can to connect. But from an industry perspective, do you think we are doing enough? I mean, who owns the education awareness mandate? Who's going to go and, talk to the students and the industry that, hey, this is your demand, this is the supply, let's bridge it through these steps? Who owns that?
Right. See, there's an in-between path which answers both Naveen ji and Manpreet ji what they've said. Industry academia partnership. There are certain skills, there are certain requirements which industry has, and there are certain capabilities which the academia have. So there's something which jointly many institutions in India have worked upon with something called industry academia partnership, where this relationship is built in, and what is the current trend or the current requirement of the industry that's being taken up and is added on to the regular curriculum, or the curriculum is modified in much faster manner as it was done previously. Probably if the curriculum was changed over 5 years or 6 years, now you see most of the universities and center of excellence, at least in the higher education level, are rigorously improving on their curriculum almost every 1 year or 2 years like this, and they're running parallel communication skills and digital skills and other team building capabilities of their students, which wasn't happening earlier. You were purely academic, but now you're building in this is the outcome of this industry academia partnership which we are seeing. And yes, definitely now going forward, after post-COVID, organizations would certainly like to have more skills set in their prospective workforce, which is definitely going to be that they are digitally very, very aware and are enabled and can work in different kind of environments. They have the capabilities of working from home, whatever their locations are, and they have that flexibility to take various kind of roles within the organization. So these are the certain new things which the expectations would be going forward. That's something I would like to add on.
Amazing. And Dr. Manna, this question goes then to you. In the context of what what was just spoken by Parminder, what do you then think is the future of technical institution such as Narula Institute of Technology? What role are they going to play to make sure that their students are then on the right path?
Yeah, that's very much true. And with the Naveen ji, I'm 101% agree. So there is a difference between India and Bharat. And that's why, I could recall one of the WhatsApp posts you might have seen. It may be the virus came through the passport holders, and finally the sufferers are the ration card holders. That is one of the heart-touching posts. And I think many this kind of humorous posts are coming. Yes, that's true. I could see we are safe at home. You are safe at home because we have the ACs, we have the refrigerator, we have the ration for next 3 months, I believe. I too carrying my government salary. But what they are just running on the roads, just walking on the roads for days and days. I think the big marathons are happening in my country, but no any kind of, Guinness Book of Record is going to be made. How many days he cycled, how many days he walked. Although it's a very pinching things, it's a very heartening things.
Last night, sir, 40 people got run over by truck.
Yes, daily it's happening, sir. Daily it's happening.
40 people, sir, in Auraiya, 40 people.
Yes. And the statistics which says for my higher education students, those came from the outside now back to their parent country like India, and they may be looking institutions like JIS, NIT, or many good institutions to be joined over here. No doubt they can join even with the online. The question is that they were comfortable that time also. They would be comfortable post-COVID also. The question is how the higher education is going to be helped to those children, those learners, the 60% learners. They never afford to go outside India. They were never afford to be inside India in these kind of the campuses. That's why our GER is just 25.8. The 70, we don't know the 74% of my learners where they go after their matriculation or after their +2. Yes, but because of this online education system, the MOOCs concept, because in my class, I can say after 60, sorry, beta, you can't come because my strength is 60 to be managed in the class. But during this kind of webinars, I think even needed to host today 100 or maybe 600 or maybe 1 lakh participants as per the platform availability. And today's the platforms are open source. They are open course. Today we are doing with the Zoom. We are thankful to the Zoom platform. They have given us such a huge, and the internet. And today we are the lucky enough, the first country in this world having the cheapest data.
Yeah.
And the first country after the China, we are going to be next 6 months, we are having the most internet penetration as compared to the world. So now these opportunities are there. Now question comes to the institutions. Are they ready to cater these students even outside their campus? If they can, I think very soon after post-COVID, I see as per the government of India mandate was there or some vision was there to by 2020, 30% GER, which we could not touch. And we are not going to touch even, I am sure, by December even. But by 2021, if this kind of the mission by 900 universities be taken, that we are going to start the ODL in a true spirit as by the UGC, and UGC should liberate, they should liberate the norms a little more, because as per the NAC 3.5 score has to be taken to go for ODL and to teach 1 lakh students even away from your campus. I think looking this COVID situation, if government of India regulators like UGC, AICT will give little more open hands to the private institutions, because as in today, we are having 349 private universities in 935, and they are catering more than 60% my students, and they can cater, I think, more than these students, because nowadays government of India is open mind. They said we don't give distinguish between the government institution and the private institution, but it should be in the true spirit also. Whatever they are mentioned in the policy as a national education policy new came in last year itself. So just last concluding part which I want to say here, this is the right time. Go for the online MOOCs platform to be hosted by the institution. Let the SHM to be called the industries to become with the Wi-Fi system to be incorporated, and it's an industry institution interaction. We will give you the set skills guys. We will give you the best learners of the country for your future corporate world. Please give us the complete Wi-Fi zone, as Geo already started. I think he's giving a good number of institutions a free of cost Geo enabled. So many other companies like Tata or Birla, whoever is working in a CSR, the CSR should go now for the bandwidth. CSR should go for the data given to the students, subscribers only, not for the Facebook, not for any kind of watching movies on a Prime or Netflix or something. They should go for only authentic data usage, or very precisely data uses for the Google Classroom sort of things and the virtual classrooms where the teacher can teach. I think this is the best combo. We have the industry and educational institution, because you can't afford the universities to put more money for the bandwidth part. Already they have put a huge investment in their university campuses. I think this is the only way we can go for the post-COVID.
Wise words, Dr. Malla.
Wonderful, Manpreet ji. I think, I totally subscribe to what Manpreet ji just said. He really elaborated on that Wi-Fi zones which can be created by the companies today. And I'll add to it, today this common service centers, they are doing some wonderful work on the ground by giving some technology related courses to the students sitting at home. So anybody can go to the normal CSC centers and get accreditation for one of those courses that are running there. So technology is definitely going to play a very important role. And my feeling is the underlying theme of the technological transformations, will mostly revolve around creating businesses that will, survive in less contact society.
True.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
that is how it is going to happen. And less contact means engagements have to be done in such a way that then classrooms will move to kids room, and then workspaces will move from long-term leases to on-demand when we work
hot desking. Absolutely.
So these are the things that are going to be there, and these technologies, if we are able to adopt it now, so in the event of the next pandemic, business will be as usual.
Exactly. In fact, just to add, right, Naveen, Twitter, as you would have all read the news, Twitter is okay for its employees to work remotely forever. Not like 2020, end of 2021, forever. And they have absolutely canceled lease on all their offices. So, who's to say that Amazon or Facebook will not follow? But we'll see how that pans out. In the interest of time, I'm going to open the Q&A session. Jayanta, sir, are there any questions for the panelists?
So now the session is open, I think. Yeah? So all the participants, raise your hand if you have any question. I will unmute you one by one. If any participant has any question, please raise your hand.
So, I have a question for Parminder ma'am.
Yes, please.
Yeah, in this pandemic, everything is uncertain for all of us, and we are doing it every day. We are experimenting with ourselves. So, as a chamber of commerce, and as we are heading the eastern and the northeastern zone, so what are the things? What are the prime agenda that you are facing, and how you help us in this regard?
Helping the institution, you mean?
Yes, ma'am.
See,
Because after the pass out, our students get absorbed in the industry, and final year students, they are really very in a havoc situation. That even after they pass out, even after having a degree, the companies, those who have already given them the appointment, the offer letter, but the appointment is still pending. So do you have any plans, like the chamber, as being a chamber of the head of the chamber of commerce? Have you given any specific instruction to the industries, or if you can give any insight about it?
Yeah, I'll agree with you that many of the organizations have put the placements on hold for a while because of the uncertainty which is existing around the organization and their uh, business continuity. But let me say in this manner that many organizations, including ourselves, we are all very optimistic that we will open up and things will go to normalcy. Even in the tourism, people will make tours. Of course, it will take some time before it goes to the level it was previously. Restaurants will open, cinemas will open, everything we are expecting. But then, yes, every industry will take its own time to open up. Right, but there are organizations which are in the hiring mode. Definitely, one of them includes the e-commerce industry, the logistics, healthcare sector, the technology sector. So when the students are planning for something, they need to see which sector their preferences are. They need to see that. Manufacturing will open. You can't have engineers working from home. You will need engineers for construction site. You're going to need them. Yes, there is a delay. It's going to take a while for things to open up and before they can get that job or the placement actually starts for them, or the internship, whatever they had in mind that would start. But things would take some time. But yes, it's going to take it is going to take longer. There's no concrete date you can say from 1st August everything will become normal. No, it's not going to be. Every industry is going to take its own time to do it, take a little longer. But then the only idea or the only thing which we can say is that the organizations definitely are going to look forward to the individual's capability of being flexible to take up multiple roles and have enough digital capability in them. That's something which they can try to work upon while they are waiting for their appointments or while they're waiting for campus interviews. That's something I can just add on.
I will add to what Madam has said just now. Yesterday I was in a conference call with the government bodies where some representatives of the FMCG sector were also there. Now the FMCG sector has a lot of jobs, but there is no workers. The workers have migrated back.
Yeah, that's yet another challenge. That's another challenge now that government wants the industry to open, and suddenly there is a shortage of workers. I mean,
that is people are experiencing now. There are jobs, but there are no workers.
There are no workers. Pune, Maharashtra, Noida, or everywhere. This is the same scenario now that government is asking people to work, and people, even the factory owners are willing to make all the arrangements of social distancing, keeping their workers with them, giving them accommodations, giving them 1.5 times of the salary. There are workers who are demanding more pay, but industries are willing to pay that, but then people are just not willing to stay back. So, but as I said, I'm very optimistic that things will change for in future. We can't just continue sitting at home. At one point of time everyone has to go back to normal. That normal may not be exactly as it was in Jan or Feb 2020. It will be a little different normal, but yes, industry will be open, and there is a willingness in the industry to open and start producing again and be operational.
I mean, offices in China have opened. Offices in Hong Kong have opened. Offices in Australia are actively opening. Yeah, it's not like full workforce won't go. Probably they will have to do a weekly, like week one, and then, give it a gap. But things will change. But, Nidhi, I mean, what we also are seeing here in the region is they have paused hiring, but students here, it'll be worthwhile noting that it's not going to continue this way. It's going to get better. It's just that the profitability that has been lost, companies are trying to make up for it, but they also know that to move forward, they need talent. And it's going to get back to normal, hopefully very soon.
Yeah, I can tell you one thing, I really don't know how the India's economy recovery will be. Will it be V, U, L shape?
Yeah,
I really
true.
don't know. But one thing I can very surely tell you that our recovery will be the quickest.
Yeah.
This much I can assure you. The only thing that has to be created is the demand, and which the government, I think, has already done with the stimulus they have announced for the last couple of days.
Yeah.
Once that demand is created,
yeah,
so our recovery will be as quick as the losses that we have encountered. This is my personal feeling, and I've seen the 2008 fiasco also. So I firmly believe with the kind of population we have and the kind of money the government is putting into the hands of the people, so our recovery will be the quickest. Trust me.
Going local. So are there any questions from the audiences, if I may? Oh.
So positivity is coming from all the corners. So we are actually the institution. Thank you so much. So my next question, if you allow me, Pooja, is to Dr. Manna with reference to the previous question. Like everybody is saying, we have to be more digital, and the person who is digitally advanced will only survive in the industry. So Dr. Manna, my question is to you. We are dealing with two kinds of students. One who are technical savvy, and the other one who are in the core sector. So technical saving in the electronics, instrumentation, communication, IT and CSE, these guys are very comfortable with the digital online classes. They agree to give the exam, and most of them have the offer letters as well. But the problem we are facing is with the civil and the mechanical engineering or the electrical engineering students who are not so very much well versed in with the digital scenario. So do you have any suggestion for these students?
Thank you very much for asking this question. Rather, I wanted to say something, and with the addition to the previous your question, I am going to touch some another scenario, and I will definitely answer for this question. You were asking for hiring. You were asking for hiring of the engineering graduates. You were asking for hiring for the graduates, maybe from the humanities or maybe from the medical sciences or healthcare sector. For every year hiring of your learner who's passing your stakeholder, they need, I think, 10 to 12, the workers under them. The time when the workers should be back to the industry, they are sitting in the trains and they are going back to their home. I ask one question, although it's a very sensitive and very touching. If today you will give a worker a double salary even without doing a work, do you think they will come back to the industry? When we are giving a free travel cost, and we are the government of India is paying extra, and the companies already made mandate by government of India, state governments, do not cut anybody's salary. When they are not going to cut the salary, so it means they are going to get the money in their hand. Why we are putting some extra money and giving a free cost for travel? Then everybody would like to be travel, because we could not change their mindset of the coronavirus. To be very frank, to be very precise here, you and me understand the side effects of the coronavirus, but many of my laborer brothers and sisters, they still have not. That's why they are gathering like anything, anywhere in the maybe railway stations. I do agree. I really feel I have apathy. I understand their pinch and their pain, because many are sufferers also. They are not given a proper food or shelter or something. Maybe some organizations are not doing as per the ethical way. But I think the majority of the biggest industries, they have the quarters, they have the shelters, they have everything. Now they want to open the gate. Why they will hire your SAM engineer or your junior engineer or your senior engineer passed out from your campus until unless the foreman is not there, the lineman is not there, the production man is not there. Now I'll come to the B part as you asked. So as on today, if you think that when we started our computers in our life, somewhere early 60s, the whole country's trade unions made a hue and cry. They said, computer should not come to my country. It is going to eat away many jobs. And today, even every parents, they are dreaming, if my son and daughter is doing something in technology, he should join a CS. rather than leather technology or maybe electrical engineering or even sometimes civil engineering? What is that preference? So my here, the simple say, the message to all my young learners, either you do any kind of course, any kind of studies, the computer savviness is must. It is as good as you are using a calculator in metric class, as good as you are using a pen from your sixth class till now. It is as same. It is a tool. Don't take it as a study. Many students, they say, sir, how I can use AI? Sir, I'm not a computer science graduate. Sir, I'm not a computer engineer. How I can do something in Python? Oh, my dear student, even you did even a BA or a BCom or a BSc, you can do a blockchain, you can do a AI, you can do a ML. These are the tools, these are the languages. These are not going to give you any kind of degree or any. This is what the Mr. Naveen mentioned. The industry needs skill sets. We are giving something else. Our Modi ji wants the bullet train to be run in country. We are still teaching a thermal engine in the class. So very first, the teachers has to change the mindset, the digital mindset. So every class, the 10 minutes, there should be a digital divide. The digital counseling should be there to make them. They are very smart. How to open the mobile for their YouTube, they know well. How to play a blue whale game on the YouTube, they knows. But how to learn the codes on the same mobile, they say, no, Papa, I don't know. They are very smart. So if they are smart, we should be smarter because we are the teacher. If we will not become a smart, of course, they will play with us and finally say there is no job because they will miss out their time for playing these kind of games, which will give them how to make the suicides. It's a very unfortunate part, but such kind of data is also available on OER. So OER is not a MOOCs. That's why I generally say to my learners, think for MOOCs, not for the OER. OER is always, I Google out many things, but Google give me the 60% data, which is not even authenticated because it's a machine learning. If I'm writing a COVID, a bad definition 600 times, I think my definition is going to be hit more. Although I'm not a doctor. In today, my country, I think the MBBS are many less. Non-MBBS doctors are came up on a WhatsApp and YouTube. They are teaching you how to be away from Corona and how to be save yourself. I don't understand
including
what
Trump,
these doctors
right?
have taken this MBBS.
Including Trump,
So that's
was
the way
asking to
you
get.
make computer science.
Yeah, no, very valid point there, Dr. Manna. But
I think
any other question?
Yeah. I think Omlan Babu has some, Omlan sir, Professor Omlan Chakraborty has some question. I'm unmuting, sir.
Okay.
Sir.
Hello, I am Omlan Chakraborty. I am a professor in electrical engineering at Naroda Institute of Technology. Are you able to hear me?
Yes, sir. Please go on.
Yes. Thank you. In this situation, the last talk that was coming, that the workers, they're coming back, and the nobody wants to do a hand job, field job. There has been a trend over the last 2 decades that many students from core disciplines, they are also taking up computer jobs. That is because of the job availability. Now, but still, we used to see 50% of the students, they are keen to do field jobs. They were very keen to get into some, discoms or, power plants or, very field-oriented jobs. They, rather than doing the office, sitting at office, they will do very hand jobs,
right.
Field jobs, etc.
Right.
But however, don't you think that the trend I have seen is that the many students are now learning Python. They're also attending the online classes. So they are becoming more keen to do a job from home or a job sitting at the office, a design job, rather than doing a field job.
Right.
So don't you think there will be a scarcity of workers and engineers in the course sector in future if this online education and online, technologies, they will suck in a lot of people from other disciplines.
Right. So what you're saying is the mainstream jobs, if everybody goes digital, who's going to go to the field and do what needs to be done?
We'll get very few people to do the hand jobs.
Got you. So is there someone who's...
Yeah, I would like to address the question to Mr. Krishna Kumar.
Okay, go ahead. Krishna Kumar, your question. Somebody can unmute him. He's on mute right now. Yeah. Krishna Kumar, you're on mute.
Yeah. Professor, you asked a very important question because this is about the fundamental shift which is happening over a period of time. I would say last 5 years or so. So if you look at last 5 years, the world economy has not grown much, primarily for the reason that many people thought that this is financial recession or economic recession. This is actually a systemic recession which is happening. That millions of people are now finding slowly. So this is not happening overnight like Corona. This is happening gradually, and we are not even realizing it. Right? Corona actually made the shift pretty much visible, accelerated. If you look at, imagine people have been in the last 5 years trying to upskill from, like you said, low paying field jobs to decent paying digital services jobs, right? So it's about the incentives which really matter. People are looking for, if I learn this skill, what are the incentives available? How can I reward myself? How can I make a better lifestyle? So the aspiration levels of people have gone up so high that digital services actually suit their, lifestyle, their incentives, and most importantly, they see people who are getting into digital services, leading, comparatively better lives than the people who are on the field. So anybody who can actually shift to the technology side of things would definitely make the shift through upskilling, through self-learning. So I would say it's not about going to the college. Like most of the engineering colleges, I would say focus on their specific curriculum, but self-learners are less than 10%. Less than 10%. Self-learners are not like 90%, they're 10%. And these 10% make a decision to quickly shift to better areas. So I think even then, like Naveen Singh sort of saying, the Bharat is even huge. It's like a really huge thing. And there are people who can't do this. And they have to, so there will be like you said, the big divide which may happen in the income in terms of, just to give an example, even Silicon Valley, there is only one caste system, which is like people who know programming, people who do not know programming, right? So here in India also, there will be like a new caste system which can emerge, which would be like tech savvy people, comparatively lesser tech savvy, not like zero, but comparatively lesser tech savvy. So, sir, I think this is a reality which we have to, face. There is no solution for it. But in terms of the numbers, the demographic numbers are so huge in India that we are able to sustain the economy with the field, with the hands required to run the tires, what you call the wheel economy, like the migrant workforce who are a bit disturbed now, but I think government is doing everything to back. So there will be a huge divide, like you said. It is very visible also, and shift is happening gradually, but now this is very better now. Thing has been happening over a period of time.
Right. Very well actually answered. And also, if I could just very quickly add, so no matter what you're doing, every business needs data. And now, there are CRMs. So even if you are a person in the field, you will still need to be able to know how to input those data into an Excel sheet. You will still need to know probably how to conduct Zoom meetings to update your clients or customers. So that's a digital, also in a field job, right? Like just knowing how to automate more and more. Do we have any other questions for the panelists? And how much more time do we have? This is Jayanta.
I am not seeing any question right now.
Right. So in that case,
Pooja, I will add one more thing.
Sure, please go ahead.
What has emerged during this entire pandemic, because I'm from a finance background and I also take care of a lot of payment systems in the country.
Right.
During this pandemic, what has emerged is that cash is the king. Do you know, in the entire history of the country, the cash in hand of the general public is the highest. It is more than 25 lakh crores in the hands of the public. During demonetization, it was only 18 lakh crores. So all the talk about, enabling digital payments and things fell flat during this pandemic. The local grocers, the local thelawala insisted that humko sirf cash chahiye.
Cash. Hmm.
So, this pandemic has taught you a lot of things,
Hmm.
which we need to analyze. As Professor Sir rightly said, that who's going to be the last mile holding on to that pole for the DISCOM? There has to be someone. Okay. So skilling is one thing which is very, very important. As Krishna Kumarji also rightly said that, we will have two castes, one who will be skilled, will tech savvy, other will not be tech savvy. So I think the tech savvy will take care of itself. The focus now should be, as Manpreet sir, who has been into MHRD, and I've seen his profile, he can be, a lot of things can be done on that. The focus should be on the non-tech savvy people, that how we can enable them to really, have a decent life in the years to come.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah.
And one final comment from me.
Right.
Just and colleges and institutions like NIT will be now, I think, looking at the future, will be looking at organizing learning communities. Like, I would use that word, organizing learning communities. And learners will have to drive themselves more for self-learning. So far, our education system has been mostly into push to learning, and we will come to self-learning. And universities will move to creating learning communities, encouraging people to upskill themselves. So that's the concluding remark from this side.
Great. Thank you so much. And so we are absolutely at the last leg of the discussion. But before I thank all the panelists, in one or two words, what's that key advice that you would like to give to our, fellow students who are attending the webinar from your area of expertise? One or two top advice that you would like to give.
Yes, thank you. So at the end, for this very, very fruitful panel discussion, and I have taken away many things, the great learning from the good panelists, my co-panelists. I am really thankful to them. Only my wish, and it is my request and advice, that COVID is not going away within a day or even a month. It is going to be stay with us for a long period. It is going to be. If we want to save our generations to come and our mankind, I request the universities, institutions, and my universities going students, because they are afford, they are going. Please try to make our Indian villages as a digital village. They should get the things in their hand in the right time. I'll just quote a single example, then I will conclude. Today in my Punjab, the government of Punjab asked, we have to lift all the grain from your field. So end of the day, every villager is taking the grain in their trolleys, in their trucks, and they're reaching there in the mandi, and they're putting over there and waiting for the weighing. Can't us, if Arogya Setu app can work amazingly in my country, a single app made by students, they click the photograph at the grain, at paddy, at the point, the location will go. Even the today apps are the 3D apps. They can judge the weight of the grain also, how much the vehicle is required. Let one sanitized vehicle from the government to be come at that time, and the online payment to the account to the villager, to a farmer. So this is the one of the example for the digital village. We have to improve their income. If we will not improve the income of the villages today to make a digital, our cities are doing amazingly. Our Bangalore is going on the lockdown. Pune is in the lockdown. I tell you, within 15 days, they will get back. The moment lockdown is over, the Pune, you'll get the same crowd in the malls, same crowd in the roads, same cars. But in the villages, I told earlier, it is the fault of the passport holders, and the sufferers are the ration card holders. We have to think about the ration card holders. We have to think about the villagers. Digital village has to be created by our learners, our teachers, our universities. I think this is what I just want to be. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Kind words. Parminder, any advice from you to the students and faculty?
Right. So I think I would very much agree with all my panelists, senior panelists who have given their inputs and suggestions that yes, The digital divide which is existing has to be narrowed down to the greatest possible, and whatever steps can be taken together with the government, with the civil society, or with the industry member, that should be there. There has to be a cooperation so that this digital divide can come down further, because going forward, technology is certainly going to be important. So you're going to have a situation that, everybody must have access to technology. There's a lot of work which as government has done. There's a lot of work corporates are doing through their CSR funds. There are civil societies helping, but yes, there is need, definitely clear need for doing more, and that is one thing. For the student, yes, the only suggestion I'll give is that you enable yourself. This is a time to take as much learning as you can. There are many courses which are available online, which were previously probably not available. So this is the time when you can take up those skill sets, and be ready for the future thing which would be there. And going forward, when you're going for placements, you should be able to say that how well you utilized your time in adding your skill sets, and adding on to your capabilities, and what multiple things you can do going forward. That would add on to your CV when you approach the prospective organization for hiring you.
Absolutely. Yep. Cannot recommend that more. Use this time wisely. And from Naveen, any words of encouragement and advice to our students and faculty?
Young friends, I will only tell them, what I tell all my colleagues also, young colleagues who are there working with me, that, your competitors can copy your work, they can copy your style, they can copy your procedures. But one thing that they can't copy is your passion, and your sincerity, and the honesty that you put into the job. So if you are able to hold on to them firmly, the world is yours.
Yeah.
And just prepare yourself, make sure that all the measures to minimize the disruption that is happening in your life today due to COVID, so that when life, returns to normal, and you are more prepared to take advantage of the opportunities that life and the world at large then presents to you, my friend. That's what we can all hope and pray for.
Absolutely. And Krishna Kumar, from you, any word of advice?
Yeah, just one thing, because I think we are getting into a world where lifelong learning is going to be the most important thing. I mean, the learning is not ending at the age of 21 or 23. We are learning on a daily basis, and it can be unstructured learning, like getting inputs from different say like webinars like this, and different inputs coming in. It can be structured learning, where you learn the first principles of a subject and then go deep into it, and can be applied to stuff like in technology, in coding, and you don't have to wait for it. You can use the coding to build stuff. So these are two things, structured and unstructured learning. And one more thing, I think most of us, including me, I mean, we spend a lot of time on entertainment, right? I think 8 to 10 hours of our time is used on Netflix, YouTube, I mean, hundreds and hundreds of apps which are there. I think if we can spend at least 2 hours a day, opening the Coursera or EDX or Swayam or, things like that, I think we can still have entertainment, but 2 hours a day, I mean, if you can commit yourself to that, that's going to change a lot in the next 1 year. And you will see a huge change in yourself if you commit that 2 hours a day.
Absolutely, Krishna Kumar. And to whoever who's on this webinar, Coursera is free. Google is offering so many online courses which are free. Leadership to whatnot, to having difficult conversations. You have hosts of educational products. So yes, he's right. That's going to put a daylight between you and the ones who don't have it. So commit yourself to learning. With that in mind, I think we have pretty much reached the end of our webinar. If there are no other questions, Jayant, I would like to conclude this. Do we have any questions from any audiences? If not, let me know.
No, madam, I think no questions from.
Okay. Yeah. And guys, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to Nidhi. And I'm sure the panelists are going to be kind enough to answer those in however they can. So thank you so very much, my very dear panelists. This has been such an awesome session. and obviously Narula Institute of Technology for organizing this webinar, and Nidhi Singh, the registrar. It's been a great pleasure making your acquaintances. And yeah, these are unprecedented times, but we are all in it together globally. So yeah, let's thrive.
Now,
Thank you, Pooja.
Madam, before you wrap up, I request all the participants to switch on their video so that I can take a snapshot, good snapshot. Please,
Sure.
all the participants are requested
Sure.
to switch on their video.
Thank you, Pooja. So on behalf of Narula Institute of Technology and JIS Group, I would like to thank all the distinguished panel members for their thoughtful deliverables in today's panel discussion. My sincere gratitude goes to this cross-functional panel of experts for addressing the remote work challenges most impacting organizations and their advisors on the best practices to resolve them. We have learned a lot about the COVID-19 impact on human and society, operations and organizations with increased remote work, the future of digital life and human, the work pattern beyond the COVID-19 pandemic crisis, and the opportunities COVID-19 has brought to make virtue of out of adversity. So once again, on behalf of entire fraternity of JIS Group, I would sincerely like to thank all the panel members and my dearest gorgeous co-host for the day, Pooja. Thank you so much for organizing, for moderating so well. Thank you so much. So with the thank you, sir. So with the permission of the all of you, we may end the meeting. If the photograph.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, and happy weekend.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you,
The
Nidhi.
host may end the meeting now.
Sure. Thanks, Nidhi.
Thank you.